Scottie Pippen recently did an interview with Andrew Anthony of The Guardian. It was a great article, by the way. And Scottie Pippen addressed the Michael Jordan-led Last Dance documentary that was supposed to encapsulate the Bulls' 1998 NBA championship run, again, the Last Dance. Now, what it became, for the most part, was a documentary about, to me, the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan, and I loved it. It got me through the spring, summerish. I am in love with that documentary. You know what's so crazy? I'm literally on episode 5. It's the Kobe episode. I'm a little emotional. I'm watching it right now. Like I watch that when I'm down and out. For all my people out there that are looking for some type of inspiration and motivation, as a basketball fan, I am watching the documentary literally right now. Right now. I was having a couple of bad days with work. I said, let me put this bad boy on. It's on Netflix, by the way, if you don't got a DVR. And I'm watching it right now. Like, I get motivation from that bad boy instantaneously. And, you know, I'm watching the documentary, and I just love Mike, man. I'm 26, so I didn't catch any of Mike with the Bulls. I missed all of it. I was a child, so I missed all of it. Scottie Pippen, though, was not too happy about the Last Dance documentary and how he was viewed, and I'm guessing he's not just happy with how the documentary it's set up and how it made the Bulls look as a team. And I want to read to you some of these quotes that Scottie gave The Guardian. It's very interesting. I do have a perspective and take on this afterwards. So after I get through reading, don't cut the video off. You're going to want to hear what I got to say. So here's what Scottie told Andrew of The Guardian. And this is all pertaining to the Last Dance documentary. He said, I don't think it was an accurate depiction of in terms of really defining what was accomplished in one of the greatest eras of basketball, but also by two of the greatest players. And one could even put that aside and say the greatest team of all time. I didn't think those things stood out in the documentary. I thought it was more about Michael trying to uplift himself to be glorified. I think it's also backfired to some degree in that people got a chance to see what kind of personality Michael had. Andrew asked Scottie, have you spoken to him about your opinion on the documentary? And Scottie said, yeah, I told him I wasn't too pleased with it, and he accepted it. He said, hey, you're right. That pretty much was it. And I want to take what Scottie said with a grain of salt, that last part about saying he talked to Michael and Mike said he agreed about the documentary. I don't know if that's true or not. Look, man, I love Scottie. So I worked at ESPN. For those who are going to ask me, I worked at ESPN in Bristol. I did not work with Scottie. I've never met Scottie Pippen in my life. It would be a complete honor to meet a great like that. I did not meet Scottie Pippen. He worked in the LA studio while I was at ESPN. But again, Scottie Pippen, all-time great. Named one of the greatest 50 players of all time. Sometimes when Scottie gets an interview set and he puts his foot in his mouth, he says some things that he's backpedaled many times. Like a few years ago, he was saying LeBron was the GOAT. And now he's back saying Mike's the GOAT. And then there was a spot when he was like, Kobe's the best thing I've ever. He's done this a lot. He's done this a lot. And I feel like a lot of times it kind of goes with what side of the bed Scottie wakes up that day on what we're going to get for him. And I don't like that. I think all we ask from our personalities and people that we listen to, especially a former athlete like Scottie, is consistency. And a lot of times I feel like Scottie lacks consistency when he talks. I can only imagine what it was like to play with a guy with the athleticism and incredible talent that he had if you're Michael Jordan, right? And Scottie said he didn't feel like that documentary encapsulated that Bulls dynasty as one of the greatest teams ever with two of the greatest players on it. Look, that's for Scottie to say. I can't go against a guy that was actually a part of it. Like, I can't specifically argue what he feels about a documentary. That's his opinion. He was a part of it. So if he feels that way, he's got every right to feel that way. I can't tell that man how to feel. But for me personally, as a fan, I felt like that documentary gave me everything I wanted and more. I didn't want a documentary just focusing on the 98 season. Like, I wanted to get to know Mike more. Like, there's a mystery around Michael Jordan. And it used to be about our celebrities of the past, the Michael Jacksons of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world. That's why we watch this stuff. Because in the past, there was such a mystery around our stars, right? I promise you, when I'm 26, when I'm 46, I'm not going to be into documentaries like I am now about some of the stars of today. We know everything. Like, I feel like we know everything. You think I'm going to be this excited about a LeBron James documentary? Now, don't get me started. I'm pissed about this Kobe documentary that'll never be the same again. Rest in peace to my guy. I feel like that would have been the greatest one because Kobe gave us just enough of his personal and family, but still left a lot out. So I felt like that one had the chance to be as good, if not better than Mike. But Mike is just, his story is so compelling. This middle-class guy who act like he was from nothing, like nothing. He worked his ass off, and he could literally do anything he wanted. I mean, he literally played another sport. I felt like I got everything I wanted in that. I wanted to know more about Mike, and that's selfish. Maybe, again, the name of it was The Last Dance. It was supposed to be about the 98 season, but from a production standpoint, it was clear as day. The 98 season was just a headline to lure you in. If you needed anything outside of Mike, that's what it was. It really, I mean, less than 10% was about the 98 season. They used the 98 season as a guideline, but we were mostly in the past. We were in the late 80s and in the early 90s as the Bulls were getting past Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. We were talking about Mike's upbringing, Phil's upbringing. We're talking about Scottie's upbringing, Dennis Rodman's upbringing. Some of the other guys like Steve and B.J. Armstrong. 98 was a placeholder, right? It was a placeholder that we referenced from time to time, but it was about so much else. And I feel full. I don't need nothing else. Like, I love what I got, but I can understand how Scottie is frustrated. I mean, what? Scottie's mad because he checked out of a game and didn't want to go back in because he told the team he wasn't going to get surgery in the offseason and he wanted to party. Like, I get it. Because, again, this is Mike's thing. He co-produced it. He was a part of the co-production team. It was his team that co-produced it. I get it. Scottie wanted to see more of his greatness, more of the team's greatness. I get it. But damn, man, you play with Mike. Like, no disrespect, Scottie. You play with Mike. And we get Mike in a room on camera. Like, we don't get that too often. You're going to get Mike. If Mike's in a room, I want to talk about Mike. I'm sorry. I want to talk about Mike. I don't want to talk about nobody else. Now, if Mike didn't agree to do this documentary, and if it was ESPN produced by itself, and Scottie was the lead voice, fine. And Scottie could do another documentary. I'm fine with that. I'll watch that too. But that's Mike, though. Like, that's Mike. So, I mean, I'm great with it. But, hey, Scottie was not too pleased with it. He said it really didn't give you a feeling of how great that team was. But I feel like that would have turned off, like, a lot of casual fans. Like, I feel like it was just enough personal life. You know, I mean, it's going to be tough to convince my fiance on watching a documentary just about the X's and O's of basketball. Like, my fiance rather watch about Michael Jordan losing his father in the middle of his championships, breaking down, possibly gambling. Dennis Rodman was the Dennis Rodman storylines were a great capture for the casual fan. This dude was wilding out. This man was on drugs one day, grabbing 25 rebounds the next. That's crazy. I just think if we would have focused on what Scottie wanted to focus on, you damn sure wouldn't have broke no records on ESPN Sunday after Sunday. All right? I'm out.